In the field of renewable energy, few companies have played as significant a role as SunPower builders. Since 1972, company founder John Costanza has made solar power, sustainable building, and living in balance with nature his mission. I asked him to share his perspective on green power. When we think of green power, a lot of times the first thing that comes to mind is the sun and solar. Why is that?
Well, solar energy is just so abundant. I like to say that the solution comes up every morning. The amount of irradiance that falls on the surface of the continental United States in any one day is enough to power the planet for a year. Solar is simple, it's clean, it's abundant, and it's a homegrown resource of energy. These solar panels just sit here in the sun and make electricity just because the sun shines on them, as well as a little technical stuff that goes on within the module. But from there, we simply capture that electricity into wires and provide electricity for your house or for the power grid.
What is it about solar power that captured your imagination and led you to make it your life's work?
When I first left high school, I really wasn't sure where I was going. I knew that I was smart, I knew that I was motivated, and I knew that I could work with my hands. Solar energy at that time was kind of growing out of the environmental movement of the 60s and 70s, and we also had a severe energy crisis then. So that was also a driving force in solar. I stuck with it through these years because I feel passionately about the need for creating clean, green, abundant, and homegrown energy, and solar fits all those bills for us. And right now, solar energy is taking the next turn into really being one of the driving forces in the economic recovery in this country, because we're working to create new jobs. There's a large and growing job market in the solar industry, and this is all part of a new economic revolution that's going to be based on a green future in both energy and construction and in the way we live our lives.
Bringing about a green future is at the core of John's work. SunPower Builders installs systems that capture solar energy and convert it into other useful forms. Whether it's to generate electricity, hot water, or heat, these technologies are increasingly finding their way into more and more homes, businesses, and industries. The economic benefits of solar power are obvious and potentially enormous. What other benefits to our quality of life will we experience as we transition to more sustainable energy forms?
Well, Rob, that's an interesting question because, everybody sees the obvious returns. I can tell you personally that my business is growing, and I know that I'm hiring a lot of people. So on the economic side, there's a lot happening. But in addition to that, when we start looking at some of the improvements in our environment, we can also see that it affects our health every day. Burning fossil fuels, we know, many of us believe, is contributing to global warming. In addition to that, we have acid rain, we have particulates of sulfur that get in our atmosphere from coal burning power plants, which end up in our lungs. We see increased amounts of asthma and other related conditions. Solar energy as a clean energy will lower the impact of those pollutants.
Why should a builder or remodeler take the time to invest in learning about sustainable practices, and how will that impact their career and businesses?
Right now is an ideal time to get involved in the green building business. Sustainability is on everybody's tongue, on the tip of everybody's tongue. And it's being supported in every way from policymakers to help develop this. So as far as the contractor goes, right now, as the industries, or today, even though some of the building industries are slow, the green building industry is burgeoning and growing. I would say that one of the greatest advantages is that it doesn't take a genius to do this. It's merely adapting your present skills and applying your ability as a proud craftsman and doing a good job to make an energy efficient and tight building.
SunPower is also a builder of sustainable structures. A specialty is its use of salvaged and eco-friendly materials that combine time-tested construction techniques with the latest technology. I imagine when you're working with a client, designing a room or an addition or solving an energy problem, that you have a unique approach given your background. Describe your approach with the client.
Well, I would say that in a lot of ways our approach is similar to any other design professional in that we try to address the aesthetic and functional needs of our client. But then we like to also take it to the next step and talk about how the whole house acts, as one, as a system. And parts of that system have to do with getting good daylighting inside. Parts of that system have to do with load reduction. Parts of that system have to do with eliminating air infiltration. Essentially build a thermos that looks good and then heat it with a small heating plant. So that's the direction we try to take our clients after we go through our initial discussion, and always paying attention to the aesthetics.
You've been a proponent of green energy and a practitioner of sustainable building for a long time now. Are you seeing more widespread acceptance of the philosophies and ideas?
Absolutely, Rob. It's being driven by the public now. It's being driven by environmental conditions and global conditions. And in addition, we're now getting a lot of support here at home from policymakers too, that are encouraging us to look for homegrown energy. So yeah, this industry is changing a lot, and there is a everywhere you turn now, it's becoming part of the fabric of the building industry to talk about green building products. Whether it's just one thing that you do and changing to compact fluorescent lights, or whether it's making an entire green building that's LEED Platinum certified, it's all taking steps in the right direction, and we are all being encouraged everywhere we turn to do this.
What makes this an especially promising time for more sustainable approaches?
Well, it's especially promising because, first of all, there's a great awareness, and there's been a great education of the American public, and the American public is responding. So that's very promising in that way. Part of that response has been in an acceptance in a broader sense through our legislatures and local governments now, and we're seeing a lot of money being spent on research and development, something that hasn't really been cost effective for anybody to invest in for years. But now that that's happening, we're going to see drastic changes. We're going to see fantastic changes in what our energy alternatives can be in the next 5, 10, and 50 years as we make these products more and more efficient and more affordable and more within the reach of everybody.